Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I have for you today what is probably the most unnecessary quest ever added to Marvel Contest of Champions. You could not pay me to explain to someone why this quest exists, because I simply have no idea. I am, however, still going to try and complete it itemless. And this is quite the quest, so let's get into it. So coming into the game in January, and we're greeted with not just the ordinary AW showcase, but also these new AW showcases where you're supposed to take in Secutor attackers and try and take down opponents with class disadvantage. So these fights, if you're not already aware, come in 5 stages. The first stage, the opponent has 90% damage reduction, and that lasts for 20 seconds. After that phase, the protection goes down to 75%, and that lasts another 20 seconds. Then it goes down to 50, lasts another 20, and then after that 50% damage reduction phase, the opponent will now take 100% more damage. So the icon will shift from a protection icon to the wounded icon that you'll see on the Grandmaster, or something like that. And not only that, your health will also be regenerated back to full. So say you enter the fight with a 20% revive, you don't need to put any health potions in, because you'll be regenerated back up to full health after a minute. You're going to remain in that damage phase for a minute, and then you enter a greater damage phase, where the opponent takes 200% more damage, and you gain a 25% protection, which I'll tell you is quite handy. I didn't have to use it much, but it is quite handy, and you'll see it in this fight for sure. Now, why I believe this quest is completely unnecessary is because of the sheer size of these health balls. I don't know if you noticed it on the way into this Toad fight. He obviously has quite a high PI, but he has over 3.5 million health. So as far as I can tell, the first minute of this fight, you're just stuck there, doing bugger all damage. You then get a phase where, like, okay, I'm dealing increased damage, but I don't have access to, like, the top damage dealers in the game, do I? I have access to, A, whatever my roster has, but also, B, this limited selection of AW tactic attackers. So, probably my most damaging champion in here is Penny Parker, who is fantastic, very high damage output, but not the burstiest champion in the world. So, not only am I wasting a full minute of my life sitting on my ass waiting for the timer to end, once I actually get going, the fight's going to be like 3 and a bit minutes at best, and this is with class advantage, by the way. So it could have been a lot worse, I suppose. But anyway, I hope not to subject you to too much of my footage, and because this is such a long quest, this is going to be one of only maybe 2 fights I'm going to show the full entirety of as I get stunned. This was not the first time I did this quest, or I had not my first attempt at least. And the biggest hazard of going into this fight is just you get stunned every now and then when you're immune to the poisons. You do want a poison immune champ. You do not want to go in here with a champion that will get melted from those poisons. But this was a run where I only got stunned once, and you can see the 25% protection coming in quite clutch. I've only lost 10% health against a champion with quite high attack. I didn't see the exact value coming into this, or I don't remember it, but definitely soaking up a large deal of the punishment, and we're about to launch off a 200% boosted L2. That is 50k bursts on every single hit of that. That Incinerate is dealing 70,000 damage per second. Remember, 3.5 million health, and Toad is going down like it's an Act 5 fight. Insanity. Full 5-hit combo into a relic. He's heal blocked against the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I had this weird thing going when I wasn't finishing combos. Now, I'm about to say something stupid, and I know that these 2 events are completely independent, but for some reason I had it in my head that if I finished combos, I'd be more vulnerable to getting stunned. Anyway, that's one of the only fights I'm going to show in its entirety. Let's move on. So here, Shuri eliminating Danny Moonstar, just deleting her from the game. I take back my previous statement about Penny Parker being my highest DPS champion. Shuri really was invaluable for this challenge. She was absolutely incredible, as she was incredible in Necropolis. She is also incredible in this pseudo-Everest content. As we move on to, I believe, the only 7-star rank 1 in my roster for this quest, which was Ironheart. Now, I saw a lot of people on the internet claiming that she was their MVP. Now, I'm not so sure about that, as this Itemless SB2 doesn't even kill, although she was at rank 1, so we have to cut her Sam slack. Not sure about that, but while things were going well, she did feel basically indestructible. She seemed very safe, even though she does look like she had just driven through a Mario star. She seemed like a very safe champion, one that I could definitely get along with in other pieces of content. A sort of character that's quite versatile just by virtue of their simplicity, which I quite liked. So moving on to Storm Pyramid X. In reality, I think I had quite a lot of options for this fight in the tech class, but I elected to go with Penny because all of her damage comes about from her special attacks or effects applied by her special attacks. So she's not going to be glancing any of those, and that's just going to ease my way quite a lot in this fight as we build up to an SB2 that I can only imagine is going to be just way too much damage. Yeah, that's just enormous. There's absolutely no need for that whatsoever, but such is the way. If AI abuse was a crime, I would be most wanted. Another clip. This is one of the shortest clips of Shuri, again, just deleting a fight, dealing about 46k per second of DOT. Nothing that Sauron could possibly have hoped to do. Moving on. And here we see First Blood. As I fail to dex out of the back of Negasonic Teenage Warhead's SB2, I get clipped by the AI's inhuman reaction times, and unfortunately my misfortune does not get any better as she evades me with the first chance she gets, stuns me, and ultimately kills me. So if I'm going to do this itemless, I'm going to need another champ to take the wheel here and guide this team through the tough fights that are coming in this quest, like Havoc, like Bishop, like Wolverine Weapon X. And that champion, I thought it was going to be Penny. It's not. It's going to be Red Skull. So far, he hasn't featured. He's going to feature quite heavily from now on. And I realised my mistake immediately upon entering this fight, as obviously what ultimately killed me was her evade, when I forgot that actually all I need to do is power drain her, and the evade goes away. And the reason I was at such low health in the first place with Ironheart was because I was just getting pounded on the block, dealing with her special 1 and her special 2, when Red Skull's block proficiency, especially with his armors, is considerably higher than Ironheart's. So, did I make a massive mistake going into this? Maybe. Did I make my life considerably harder? Maybe. Are we still going to continue nonetheless? Of course we are. We're going to try and finish this fight before the protections go away. Shouldn't be too difficult. Throw the relic, throw another 5-hit combo into an SP1, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, good night. So now moving on to a fight, Havoc, that I thought would cause me quite a lot of problems without Ironheart. Obviously this isn't true, I have Red Skull. He was designed to do this fight when he first came out, obviously. But the only real problem is that his energy damage is limited by Havoc's energy resistance. As you can see, my shocks only doing a little bit more than they would on base. Obviously Ironheart can swap out her damage source to a physical damage source, which was really what I was looking to test. But no biggie. And we move on to what was a demon of my own creation. Because sitting there, completely idle in my roster, completely unused so far, was Mysterio. And you can think of Mysterio in this circumstance, if you so wish, as an unemployed man, sitting in his mother's basement playing video games all day and demanding milkshakes up the stairs. I forgot to pack a robot for this fight. Now, a robot, such as Sentinel, who I do have as a 7-star, would be very helpful because Sinister cannot transfer his DOT from him to you in the form of degens if you are a robot. But now I'm with Mr. Sinister, and you're going to find out just how scary this fight can be
when you are desperately trying to play around is L1. And in fact, we're going to start a drinking game. The drinking game is for whenever I say the words 2 bars of power. And we're going to see exactly how many of you come out of this video drunk. Because it's quite a lot. It's going to be an awful lot of you. As I parry Mr. Sinister trying to get his power down, full 5-hit combo into a relic, into another full 5-hit combo, into an SP2 to push Mr. Sinister above. You guessed it, 2 bars of power. I must say I'm quite lucky in this run to not experience too bad of a set of AIs. Mr. Sinister was always quite cooperative with his SP2s, and I think it could have been a lot worse had he just sat there at 2.99999 bars of power backing me into a corner. That could well have happened on tough fights like Weapon X or Bishop or Mr. Sinister. And I should also count myself quite lucky to have Red Skull on the team because he is immune to the concussion that Mr. Sinister places. Just as I've been yapping, we've moved into the 100% damage increase phase of the fight, and here I really need to be applying a heal block, and there we go, I get one. Because the Provocateur defensive tactic is active in this fight. So Red Skull can very easily navigate this with a heal block on his heavy, but you just need to make sure it's active at all times, as I throw a full 5-hit combo, throw a relic, throw another full 5-hit combo, and we try and push Mr. Sinister above, you guessed it, 2 bars of power. Or do I? Yes, I do. 2 bars of power, everybody's getting smashed. He throws his SP2 cooperatively, and then we throw our SP1 to lock in our shocks, and I'm gonna desperately try and get him to parry me here. Do not go above a bar of power. And he misses me, and I turtle up immediately. Like, do not throw your special. And here I throw my relic out of desperation. I just really need to get this heal block on as he punishes SP1. Parry into... trying to drain his power. Get another heal block active. And then into another SP2 to push him above. You guessed it, 2 bars of power. Now, if memory serves, this fight does take a downward turn at some point. He's being cooperative right now, but a bit of the kit that sometimes we forget when we fight Provocateur is the additional power gain that our opponents get. So here, Mr. Sinister's power goes up, and it goes up just a little bit too far. Just a little bit too far to his SP3. And this is gonna hurt. You ready? Bang. So Red Skull was sitting pretty healthily at over 80% health. And now he's down below 50%. With adrenaline, he's gonna be back above that pretty soon. But it's pretty scary how even with this 100% health top up in the 4th phase, a fight can still go downhill. And I can survive without Ironheart, but if I want to do this itemless, I'm going to need Red Skull. As we push Mr. Sinister, you guessed it, above 2 bars of power. I'm going to make sure that everybody who leaves this video cannot see straight. So he throws his L2, we're going to look to lock in those shocks as soon as I power drain him. And I just turtle up again, like, I can't have you throwing a special one, mate, because I kind of need to be alive at this point. Throwing more heavies. Throwing a full 5-hit combo into a relic, and I believe it's going to be another full 5-hit combo into an SP1 to seal the deal against Mr. Sinister. That was unnecessarily hard, and it was my fault, but we move on. So, the tactic for this fight, which was another Red Skull fight, and you can see we survived long enough to heal him up, was just to take it really slow. He's going to go unblockable. He's going to go unstoppable. The best you can do is just back off, back yourself into a wall, and fight against the wall, using the shallow intercept against the wall to get through him. And Red Skull does that perfectly. So I think my audio was rudely cut short by my computer there, as Penny wipes dust from the surface of the earth with 100k per tick incinerates. I was going to say something clever about parrying her from a distance, but evidently she doesn't want me to, so we're going to have to move on. Now, this was another fight where I would really have liked Ironheart, but my mistake obviously took that privilege away from me. But after spending about 5.5 minutes of parrying and dexing Bishop's L2, which you can see has had an effect on Red Skull's health, he does come through baiting heavies, avoiding his L1, avoiding the incinerates that obviously he is not immune to, and after a nice 28k medium, Red Skull takes the fight. So now we're moving on to the final boss and nearing the end of our quest. Now, my initial plan for this fight was to put the unemployed man to work, get him off the couch, put him in a McDonald's, and see what happens. And, well, as you might expect, it doesn't go very well. And Mysterio was doing a good job. This was more my fault than his. And I get a little bit overzealous with a light attack intercept, and Domino has had enough. So, inevitably, I'm going to need to finish this with Fury, and it's time for my final thoughts. As actually, worth mentioning, I do finish this quest itemless. It is possible to do, although it did take me several sessions throughout the day. So I started it at one point, I then went out, I think, for a lecture or two, came back, and then I finished it. So I was always in a good state of mind, always taking a break. And I used my 4 to 5 gem on Ghost. But oh my god, the effort and the frustration that this has the potential to cause is not compensated by these rewards. It is unnecessary on top of an already challenging piece of content, which is the AW showcase. But anyway, that's just about enough for today. If you have made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.